Welcome to Websites for Beginners with JP. In this video, we're going to go completely through the Suki free WordPress theme and see what is what in there. If you want to know more in general about Suki, check out the video, the under 5 minutes overview for that. In this one, we're going to take the free theme. We're going to walk it through from installation, look at all the various functions, the dashboard, the customizer, to give you an idea of what you can do with this theme. I really like Suki. I really like the response that I get when I go to the Facebook community, and also when I work with David and I ask him questions, and he's very patient. He always explains things to me, and he's very open to suggestions, and that's one of the reasons I got so attracted to Suki. And then also because I'm a big page builder user, Suki works seamlessly with page builders, and they've made a lot of customization just for page builders so that it can work very well together with each other, and that's why I give Suki thumbs up. Let's begin our journey. This is a vanilla install of WordPress. So you get the normal jazz, you get the hello world in your posts, and then you get that privacy and sample page in your pages. I'm not going to touch anything. I'm going to assume that if you installed WordPress, it will look exactly like this. We're going to work from the beginning. Go to Appearance, and we go to Themes, and then Add New. Go to Search Themes, and we just type in Suki. We install Suki, and after installation, like everything in WordPress, we activate it. Click Activate, and this will immediately install Suki for us, and then give us the option to go to the Suki dashboard. You will note that if you look in the admin sidebar on the left, Appearance, that there's also now a label for Suki. So the dashboard can be found here, as well as if you click here on Suki dashboard. Let's go there first to see what the Suki dashboard can give us. This is how the dashboard will appear in Suki free. In Pro, all of these will be opened, as well as you get the option to toggle the options on or off. You get layout modules, asset and branding modules, blog modules, and WooCommerce integration modules. These are selected by default for the free version and activated. Those ones that are grayed out, they come with Pro. The version for Suki appears up here, so we are currently at 1.1.1 already. On the right, you can go visit the Suki website, but there's also documentation. If you click on it, it will take you into the docs world of Suki WordPress. Great job done here. Everything is explained very detailed, so you don't need to really dish around for things. You can go directly into the documentation if you are lost at any point on what to do within the Suki theme. Under this, if you are interested in joining the community on Facebook, I'd recommend you also do that. A lot of discussions, and these guys are quick to reply to it. So just click on that and you can join the Facebook community. And then also the normal Facebook business page, as well as give these guys a rating. I like the dashboard itself a lot. This is a new introduction in 1.1. It's very sleek, it's very clean. It's almost a little bit modular approach, but to me, very nicely done. Also, what I like what is done here, if I want to customize any of these features, for example, let's say I want to customize the header layout, I click on Customize, and that is going to take me into the customizer. I can make my changes here to the header, and when I'm done and I've published it and I click Exit on the X, it takes me back into the dashboard. Many themes do not do that. They will take you into the customizer, but when you exit it, they will take you back into the admin panel. So I like it, the fact that it will revert back to the dashboard. If I had been working here, go into the customizer and I exit, it comes back into the dashboard. Here in the top right-hand corner is one-click demo import. Now this is called also Suki sites. These are pre-made sites. They are free and there are pro versions. Go ahead and click on Install and Activate Plugin. We are going to use one of these pre-made sites and then work through that in the customizer. You will now get this dashboard that will tell you Suki sites import, and you will also notice in the admin sidebar that under Suki there is now a subcategory for sites import. This is your starter or demo sites. The options here for different page builders, and then over here also one for no page builder. And this will give you all the various kinds of current ones that are available, more being added, for the Pro and the free versions. You can click on it, you can go and view it. You get full functionality here in the previewer, so you can go through the pages and also go between the different links. Let's go back to that. You can also see the different categories for portfolio. You have blogs, WooCommerce. I think let's just see. Yes, there's your blog, WooCommerce, quite a few that I'm very impressed with. A very good idea of how WooCommerce sites can look, and one-pagers. Let's go to show all and choose no page builder. This is going to use the default WordPress editor, so I'm going to focus on this because Suki as a theme integrates very well with what WordPress can offer in terms of e-commerce as well as Gutenberg WordPress editor blocks. This is going to be a blogging site. You have the front page, but it is set to your blog, and then you have two static pages over here, your about and contact. These are category pages. So you can go browse through it. This will be your front page then, which is basically essentially your archive page for your posts. And if you click on this, it will open a single post for you. What we see on the single post is a page header. And then we also see our featured image over here with our normal contents, a sidebar with some widgets in there, all done within Suki. Import this site, and then we're going to work through the various pages and posts and look at what the customizer can give us in terms of headers and other customization. Bottom left-hand corner, click on import this site, and you will have a warning here telling you we're going to import this site. We don't take responsibility if your computer goes cuckoo and all that stuff, if you lose any of your work, and that it will overwrite your existing data. Of course, you have to click on OK. And then in the bottom left-hand corner, it will begin importing the contents. Some may take longer depending on the amount of content that's coming in. Others will take much faster. And then it was quite quick. Finished and visit your site. And that will take us to the front end. This is how the site will look on the front. And then you have other archive pages like recipes. You can see also archive, reviews, tips. These are all different categories for your posts. And then for the about page, what you will have here is an about page of the person. This is a static page with a sidebar. And then you also have a contact page. Very basic, good for us to work with. Let's see what this Suki Sites installer has done in the admin panel. So we go to up here, Suki Free Complete, and click on Dashboard. Let's view first our posts. And it has imported these 5 posts and gotten rid of the Hello World post for us. Media folder, all the media has been imported. On the pages, we have the 2 static pages, about and contact. Appearance, if you go to menus, it had created the menu for us, assigned it to the header menu 1 and the mobile header menu. And just quick note, header menu 1, you get 1 menu in Suki Free, and then you have more options in the Pro version. Plugins, if you go to install plugins, you have the Suki Sites import, which we had installed earlier. And then under settings, go to reading. You will see it has remained your latest post because that's going to be the front page. And under permalinks, it had also put it on the post name. So the site importer does all of that for you. Depending on the kind of site that you will choose, it will import either the page builder, WooCommerce, and other plugins that is needed for that site. Let's review what we have here. Jump into pages and let's go to about. The pages created within this blog site is all done within the WordPress editor, and I chose that on purpose so that we can see how the layout will work. Suki changes to the theme are made at the bottom over here. You have content and sidebar, header, page header, footer, and these all apply only to this page. You have the default setting for the entire site. So you will see everything starts with customizer, and this is set in the customizer. Those default settings will apply to this page unless you override it here. Let's go and open a preview page. I'm going to click on it to open a preview page so that we can see how it displays on the front end. And let's have a quick look at how things work. The first one I will look at is page header. Page header is this part of the page that we see over here. Let me show you a little bit more detail. This is the page header. It's header of the page, and you can see that there is an image inside it with the title of the page overlaid to it. There's also overlaid applied. This image is a featured image that is set within the customizer. So by default, it is applied to all of them. So let's go and see what we can do here for the page header. Yes, it is enabled, but because the customizer by default is enabled, you have the option to disable it. Let's do that and see how it will look once we have disabled it. It's gone and it also looks good. If you like page headers, very good, throw it in there. If you're not a big fan of the page header, you can take it out. Let's put it back on customizer and then let's look at the header. Now the header is where our menu is. So you have a lot of features here and then a few pro features. Disable desktop header, you can say yes, you want to disable it. And then also for mobile header, you have the same option. Let's go and see what that does. Our header is gone and now we only have the page header over here. Let's put it back on our customizer settings. Content and sidebar. First, let's update. Let's have a quick view again of how this page looks. We have our header up here with the logo and our menu, and then the page layout or the page header over here. You have your content container, which is normal and at full width. Currently, it is at normal. That is our default setting. For full width, it will look as follows. Now you can see that it is stretched all the way to the full width of the content wrapper. If we put it back at normal, which is the customizer setting, you see we've got more padding on the left than the right. This is preferable when you are working with blocks. People read better, it helps better with the screen. Content and sidebar, you have the option to have a wide one. And then you can also play around with these, put the left sidebar on the left. Let's just put it back on the default customizer setting. All of this is applied only to this page. The default settings within the customizer will still apply to all the pages as well as new ones that you can create. But you've got a lot of control here within these settings for your page, what you can turn off and what you can change. One of the things that you may want to do is you want to change this image. This featured image for the page title comes from the customizer, and we will see that later on. If you want to have your own image, you go over to featured image, click on set featured image, and then you choose your own. Let's choose this one over here, select it and update. And now you will see it has replaced it with this image. Deleting and removing the featured image will revert back to that default one. One more thing to note is that this page has a title and it is about. When I remove this part of the page, which is my page header, and I say disable that, you will see that the about appears over here now. That about here is a different about than the page header. This is your page title. So if you don't want this one to appear either, you go over to content and sidebar and here hide post title. Now you say yes. And now you won't have that about as well. So let's work through that one again. If you don't have a page header, by default, you will have a page title, which in this case is about. But if you activate your page header, it will remove the page title over here and instead display it within the page header. This is not that complicated. It just makes sure that you don't have the word about or whatever your page title is 3 or 4 times on the same page. Keep it nice and well structured. The other features that we have here is like footer. You can disable your footer and your widgets. And then you have also custom blocks and preloader screen. And these are all pro features. So this is the individual control that Suki allows you over the various pages. If we have a look, let's just update this. If you have a look at posts, let me close out this page that we had been working on. Let's choose a post over here, what to cook in December. And you scroll to the bottom, you're going to see you have the same features over here. custom and sidebar, you have your header options, again your page header, your footer, custom blocks, and preloader. What you should focus on though is that because you're working with a post, it's better to have a featured image for each post. So you will notice that within this demo site, there are individual images applied to each of these posts. Under this is the excerpt. This is optional, but if you want more control over the excerpt, this is where you are going to do it for your individual posts. And that is the control that Suki gives you for each and every individual page. Now that we've looked at our pages and our posts, let's go into the customizer and see what flexibility we get there in terms of headers, footers, sidebars, layouts, and colors. I'll update this page, and then to access the Suki customizer, you can go to Appearance, and down here click on Suki. This will give you the dashboard and you can customize it from here, or you can just go here to Appearance and Customize. Let's do that, and we go directly into the customizer. As is the case within the customizer, you have the option here to change your theme. If you get tired of Suki or you just want to play around and test a little bit compatibility between different themes, when you click here on change, you will have the option. And we just have the default WordPress themes in here, which is 2019, 17, and 16. And you can also search and add new ones here. We are happy with Suki because that's what this video is all about. What can we do in terms of global settings? We have our normal site identity. Here you put your site title, your tagline, and also put in your favicon site icon. This is basic to any other theme out there. Homepage settings, again, the same thing. You decide here. This can also be done within the WordPress admin sidebar. And then you have the color palette. Now, the color palette, very important to understand, is a color palette. It does not connect to any SEO or any headings. It is purely a palette for you to use. As you apply the colors to your site, if you make changes to it later, it will also affect that. And you've got 8 to choose from. I love color palettes, so for me, this is a great feature. But Suki has gone that one extra step, and that is called the Gutenberg integration down here. What does this mean? So before we look at that, let's exit here. Let's go get a post. I'll click on this one, and then let's just choose a text block over here. In the options sidebar on the right, you will see color settings. When I click on that, these are the Gutenberg default colors that come in when you are working within the WordPress Gutenberg editor. What you can do with the customizer, I'll go to Appearance, and then hold Control Command on the keyboard and click, which will open this new tab here with the customizer. Let's go again to Global Settings and Color Palette. If I now activate this option over here and click on Publish, go back into WordPress, and I refresh this page. Let's do that with a Control F5. Click within my text block, go to Color Settings. That color palette has now been applied to all my default color palettes within Gutenberg. Great, right? This is how you can ensure everything remains consistent throughout your site. That is quite annoying that you find in many builders and themes that they have color palettes, but you work maybe in the builder, you work in the theme, you work in the customizer, and everywhere you go, you have to go through setting up those colors again. Very cool feature that we get here within Suki, and that is the color palette. Under that, you also have Google Fonts, from which you can add your additional character subsets, and then just social media links. If you have any social media icons on your page, you're going to put the links in over here. So if you're going to have Instagram, you're going to put your Instagram link in over here. That is the global settings for menus. Same thing, this is what you do in your WordPress editor, nothing to do here. And then the widgets, what goes into your sidebar. If we look here at the sidebar at the moment, you see we've got 4 widgets in here. This one is the image that is all about me. Under that is the text. Under that, gallery. And then under that, you have post with featured image. When you hover over any of these widgets and you click on this one, click to edit this widget, it's going to open this one automatically for you. So let's say we just go one back and we click on this. It brings you to it. So it's a shortcut directly to where you want to do all your editing. You can add new widgets here, or or you can drag these guys around. Right, and let's just put them back in the position they more or less were, I think like this. And if you want to add more, you have the selection over here. Removing a widget, click on the widget and select remove your at the bottom. Standard to most themes. Back to the main part of the customizer, let's look now at general styles. Here we are going to look at basic things like your colors and as well as typography. So you have your body, which is your base, and all of this is going to set up your colors as well as the various typography for your various headings. This is all about styling. If you go to the button, you can set your button's padding, the border, the typography that will be used, as well as the colors over here. If I click on it, the color palette appears down here. So that's why it will be easy for me. If I need to make changes, I can just easily do it by clicking on the color swatch and then choosing from the color palette. Very, very simple and intuitive. And that's everything you're going to do under general styles. This is one thing I also do like about Suki a lot, is that I feel the layout and categories within the customizer is very logically done. There are some famous and very well loved, much loved themes on the market, but their customizer goes for balls because really it is a mess. People put the strangest things under the strangest headings. It doesn't make any sense at all. And I would have hoped that over the years they would have improved it, just cleaned up things a little bit. But the problem with old products is that once users get used to it, they don't like change. So I really like that Suki brings that fresh categorization to us and makes it all logical. So the general styles, this is where you're going to set all your colors and all your typography. The page, canvas, and wrapper, and this is what we've talked about earlier, default settings. This is where you're going to set those default settings. So if we go here to our page layout, currently it's set at box. Now I just put it on full width. If I activate it here in future, any new page or post that you create will have full width. We keep this site to box because it's a magazine blog site, and that's always good for it. You're going to set your page background color over here. And then you also have control over the content wrapper width. So currently it's 1140, which is the standard for how content wrappers are done. And you also have a narrow option that is set at 720. Then your box page maximum width set at 1400, and that is the area you see over here. So if I increase that, let's make that 1500, you will see it adds more space over here. Let's take it back to 1400, which is a good setting for a page like this. The box page shadow color set over here. There's a little shadow that appears over here. And the outside background color. There you go. That's where you set all of these. I'm just going to set these again to their defaults because that purple and blue is just too much Barney for my taste. You have a lot of other functions over here, whether you want to add an image to the background, the position of that, and how you want to work with this image, something we don't do in this modern age of page building. That images on the background is restricted to page builders and the WordPress editor. We don't have that huge or repeat images unless you are using something like a pattern, then you may want to do that. So any changes that you want to make to your page and canvas, go in here. So far, nothing important. I think it's when we get to the header that things get interesting. Scroll up to the top. Let's see what we've got here for this top header. And by looking there, you can't tell. So let's go down here to the bottom where the header builder is. And you can see there are 3 rows. The top one is your top bar. The middle one is your main header. And the bottom one is the bottom bar. So these 3 correspond to these 3 up here. So currently we don't have anything in the top bar, so the top bar isn't activated. If there's nothing in this row, it is not activated. In the main bar, we have in the center the logo. This is a customizable header builder. What that means is I can click and drag this component around. I drag it to the left, it appears over there. I drag it to the right, And now it goes, of course, to the right. Let's say I drag it to the top. Then it will move into the top bar. And now the main header is removed because there's nothing in it. Let's put it back in the main header center. And we are back where we started. So we can have other controls here as well. We can bring in our menu and we can put it next to our logo. And it will appear very similar to what we are used to for most sites. But here we have that stacked effect by putting it in the bottom bar. We also have a search drop-down over here. In case you didn't want it, all you do is click on it and it is removed. Once you remove it, it joins the rest of the clan down here in the bottom. And these are all the options you have to build out your header with. In the Pro version, there are more. And here in the free version, you already have a number that you can work with. In case you had a WooCommerce site, you can grab your cart link over here. Now we put it in the top bar and your cart drop down over here as well. And for that, of course, you will need WooCommerce for it to display. That's why it doesn't show at this moment. Let's say you want to add social media. Let's have some social links in there. Put that in the top bar. They appear up here now. And of course, again, you can add that anywhere you want. You drag it and you drop it. And it works just nicely. This is a very intuitive and very easy to use header builder. There you go. Let's click here and remove the logo. Okay, now it is down here. Let's take it back. And now let's go and edit it. And when I click on it, it will open the logo editing area for us. You can also access that. Let's click back here. When you are here with the header options, you can access it over here with the element logo. Click on that. Currently, it has a logo. You can change the maximum width. You can change it also on mobile. So if I want to make this bigger, I'm going to increase my maximum width. Let's see what happens if I make it to 500. And it makes it bigger. We'll need a higher resolution image for that. We can decrease it. Let's make it 120. And you will see it displays like this. So let's leave it 120 because what we need to do next is reduce the height of this main header. Let's click back. To work and style the properties of the top bar, the bottom bar, and the main bar, you do it within these functions. So I click on the main bar, and up here you will see the height. Currently at 140 pixels. I reduce it to 80 pixels. And now we have a smaller header with our logo there at the top. Here you can also have padding, you can have your border and spacing between elements. Right, let's put the header on the left. Now it is set to normal. If I make it full width, it moves all the way to the left. In if contained, it's a little bit more to the right, normal, a little bit more to the left. Slight different. Normal, that's where we need it. That's good for us. Let's put it back in the middle. If you are using text for your header or any text that you are using within your main header, you're going to make those changes over here. And then you have full color styling over your header. Nowadays, we don't even get excited about this, but I think just 2 years ago, the ability to get full color in a free theme was almost impossible. You only got that in Pro themes. So the fact that I now have the option to bring in any color that I want to use for my background, style it here, and apply opacity to it and the transparency setting that I need. This is just groovy, man. These are things that we didn't have many years ago. You had to go pro. Otherwise, no. Great to have these features in here, and you have so much that you can change over here. You see the link text color as well as submenu. These will only apply once you add a menu into your main header. If there is no menu in there, they do not apply. So let's see how they will apply if we work with a header menu, which is in our bottom bar. Click back on main bar and we go to our bottom bar. And again, you have the options here for the layout to have it full width or contained and merge inside main bar wrapper. Click that. And now these two are merged together as if one, though you still have them separate here at the bottom. The reason you may want to do that is because now you only have to apply the color styling once. You don't have to do it all the time. Let's just delink them so that we can keep things clear and then go look at spacing between elements, and these elements will apply to the menu. You will see our menu, all the various links. Now there's more space and less space. Typography, menu link typography. If we want to change that, let's put it on Helvetica. You can change the size. Let's change the weight to black, just so you can see better. Style, let's make it italic. Everything you shouldn't do, and uppercase. And then we can also increase the default size. Where are we at? 22. Sounds like a Taylor Swift song. 22. And then you also have line height as well as spacing. Let's put it all back at default before we totally go crazy. Right, I'm just going to reduce that. Good. And of course, all of these default values you set before the time, but you have full control over that. Again, here you have control over the colors. And now if we go to the link text color, which are these links over here, and I choose a color, you will see it will affect it. That's the link. And then link text color hover. Let's give that something pinkish so we can see. You see over there. And then we have all the other colors that we can play with. Top level menu items highlight. Border top. Now if I hover over these menu items or these links, you will see that little green line appear at the top. That is your highlight for when somebody hovers over it. It's currently set to border top. Let's put it on background, which is one of my favorites. Now it will do a background color, which you specify over here. Let's choose a different background color and reduce the opacity a little bit. Okay, so that is all about the background. Then we also have underline. We had underline here, which adds some space there. Border top and then border bottom. So border bottom is better than underline. Underline and border bottom, very similar. I would go for the border bottom. And we did have it at border top, so let's go back to that. It plays nicely with that line set up there. I'm going to throw all of these just back on the default. Things tend to get a little bit shocking when we work with these bright pinks and bright colors. And that is the bottom bar. So everything that you want to do in your header, you have your top bar that you can merge, you have your bottom bar and your main bar. Quickly go to main bar. I noticed while we were working with this border that you can see over here. Here you see the border and we have applied 1 pixel to the bottom border. You can make that thicker. And then you can go and change the color as well. So if you go down to the bottom, you will see border color. We put it on blue. You see that blue line appears over there. And if that is too strong, you simply reduce the opacity. Much better. And I'm going to clear that. So that's where you can set the borders for that. You can also try one at the top. If we had a top, let's do that. I'm going to put 1 at the top, 2 at the top. We're not going to see it at this moment. Go back. Let's add a social to our top. And now you'll see there is the border at the top as well. The top bar also has a bottom. So that's why it looks thicker. I'm going to take that away to 0. And now these two look the same. Right. And again, if I remove this social, just drag it out, it's going to remove the top bar and all of its settings. I like it. It's a very nice header to work with and it's free. Really, you can go and look on the market for many of these free other themes in WordPress. They don't even have half of the features that come within this header. This is definitely something not to be overlooked. Great features in the header. Page header. We talked about the page header when we looked at the pages and posts. This part that you see over here is the page header. And over here, you have the option to enable it or disable it. The moment you enable it, it's going to apply to each and every new page and post that you create. Luckily, as you have seen in those individual pages and posts, you do have the option to disable it. If you don't want it to work at all, you just not enable it or you disable it and it will tra-la-la go away. Let's leave it on to see what we can do with it. In fact, for the page header, you also have a little builder over here. Very small, but you have a little builder with which you can add 2 things. You can add the title for the page or the post. If I remove it, it will show nothing. So you need at least one thing. Click on the plus and you have two options: page title and post, or breadcrumb. Let's put in the page title over there and that will display. And it will display. Okay, let's just publish it and refresh the page. This is our good friend WordPress theme that always needs sometimes a good quick refresh just to go back and get its head back into the game. Page header, we go there. If you want to add the breadcrumbs, you will notice a little note down here. To enable breadcrumb feature, you need to install one of the following plugins and enable the breadcrumb feature on the plugins setting page. So this is not inherent to Suki. If you want to use the breadcrumb, you have to use one of these options: Yoast SEO, breadcrumb, NavXT, etc. Rank Math, you install these guys, and then after you've installed them, you can now select up here and you can drag your breadcrumb in and it will display there. Because I have none of those installed, it's not going to display, so I'm just going to remove that one. Then you also have a few layout options over here, and then you have the normal features over here. You see here, this is the background image that we have applied, and this is going to be like a featured image site-wise. Unless you override it in the individual pages and post, this image is going to display on your entire site. That makes it also very simple that in the future, if you just want to make a little bit of a character change to your site, you can come here and you can click on it and you can choose another image. And now all of those images site-wide will be changed with this. Let's just publish it and then we do a refresh to get that image to be, there we go. Where were we? Page header. So that's where you make those changes. And then you also see here at the bottom is a background overlay color. And that is that tint that you see over here. You can also apply a color tint to it and then reduce the opacity like so. And that will also fit, again, the style of your site. All of this done here. And this is called what again? The page header. Wait, before we leave the page header all the way to the bottom, and then you have also background attachment. You can use scroll or fix. So if you needed the parallel for that, you can do that. So I'm going to use that. Let's publish it. And let's jump back to our main labels here within the sidebar for the customizer. The content and sidebar is where all your default settings are going to be set. For your content section, here you're going to decide, do you want it normal or full width? Full width. There we go. That's how it's going to look, full width. And these are default settings. They will apply to all pages and posts. Do you want your sidebar on the right? Or, Sally, do you want it on the left? If you want it on the left, then you got it on the left. Let's put it back on normal. Let's say you want a very narrow layout without any sidebar. Good. This is very good for single posts. Or do you want the wide? We want it normal and we want it on a right sidebar, and you can also apply the padding over here. This is for your content. Then the main content area, you have some extra features over here regarding padding as well as your background color. This is your main content area, which is horrendous like that. You can make your color changes there. And here is your sidebar from where you can determine your width. Very nicely set at 30%. We can put it at 40%. And let's tab that. Now your sidebar takes a little bit more space. You can reduce it. Let's put it on 25%. And then you also have this gap in pixels between the content and your sidebar. Let's put it back. It was at 30%, I think, and 70 pixels. Gonna leave it like that. The widgets style currently is set to merge in one box. So if you look at this widgets, let's change the background color. Let's make it a little bit more obvious. Just like that. Good, and that's done over here. You can see that the background applies to all four of these widgets, and that's done with this setting that says widget style merge in one box. And you have the option to keep it in separate boxes, like so. And that also has a very nice style to it. You can increase the gaps between them, reduce them. And I actually really like them merged in one box. It gives it a very nice cohesive effect over there. Over here, you can make changes to your typography like usual. Let's use a crazy font like Times New Roman. Not one of my favorites. Let's rather go to something like Helvetica. You can see it changing over here. And then you also have the widget title typography. That's this one up here, About Me. Let's use something like Arial. Let's make it much bigger so you can see it's independent of the rest of the widget. Oops, that's a little bit big, but it shows you what you can do with it. So these can be done separately. Every time you give a widget a title, it will be styled independently from over here. Then you have alignment to the left, that's for the title, and to the right. And then title decoration, if you want to put it in a box. And bottom, border bottom. And that is going to be set over here for the colors. So you've got a lot of control over the sidebar area. Very well thought out. Good job, Suki, for that. Your footer also includes a builder very similar to the header. It has a widgets area where you can bring in your widgets, and then it has your bottom bar. So you see up here it says widgets bar, and then below it it says bottom bar. Let's work with the widgets bar, and the first thing we'll do from the builder down here is to select the amount of columns. And I say let's go for 3. So it will now create a widgets area with 3 columns, but you don't see anything because it hasn't been populated with any widgets. This is not done here, that is done within the widgets setting. So click back, and then we go to the top where you see widgets, and now you will see there are 3 columns because we had added those 3 columns. Let's go to the first one, and we add here something like a calendar. Click back, let's go to the second one. Let's add an image over here. And then let's go to the third one. We can add pages here. Right, so there we have a widget area. Let's type in a title for the pages. Pages, so original we are today. Now, when we go back to our footer in the customizer and we go to the widgets bar, we have more control. It is set to normal width. Full width will display it stretch across, and then more contained is much smaller. Let's put it back to normal. Then you have padding, you have a border if you want to apply that, as well as the columns gutter, which will add more space between the widgets. And then gap between widgets. If you have 2 on top of each other, that will add more space here. Text typography, and then widget title typography. So let's see if we change the text to Georgia. You see here in my calendar, let's change it to Courier New. And then over here, we have a title. Put that in Arial. You can see we can change them independently within this section. Again, we have alignment options as well as decorations for our borders. You can have it a box, a bottom border, or none. And then the normal color stylings over here. Let's put the text on white. Border color. No border there. Widget title. And you go ahead and you style these. Link. Those are the links. Barely can see that. We'll have to make that much brighter. Shockingly bright again. And style it out. Down here you can see which options you have for the bottom bar. So your bottom bar contains these dynamic features that you can bring in with. By default, there's a copyright feature in it. Let's click on it, and that will take us to this area where you can change it. You don't have to leave the copyright things in there. You can go ahead and you can change things here and add some stuff. And if you don't want it to be a copy section, you can just totally delete everything here and type in your own stuff. You also have the option then to bring in a menu. Let's bring in a menu down here. I click and drag the element, put it on the left, and then we just have to assign a menu to it. So if we go back to our menus, and then view all locations, and then over here, footer bottom menu, we select main menu. And now we have assigned that there. You see they appear over there. Let's see, edit menu. And that's right, we don't want to edit the menu. Go back to widgets. And we go back to footer. And here we are with the footer menu. Let's put the copyright on the right. And we can bring in social as well. So let's add a few social icons there as well. So here, if you click on social or you click here on social, this is where you're going to add the social links that you want to display. Let's remove all of them so you can see how do you bring them in. Simply go and click on the plus and then you choose from these social options. Let's add YouTube, Vimeo, Behance. After you've added them, you go back, global settings, social media links, and then we added for YouTube and Vimeo. I'm just going to put a hash in there. The other one was Behance, I think, right? There. Once you've done that, you can see that they appear there at the bottom. Let's just go again to footer so we can have a little better look. And bring them into the middle. There's not much space left. Let's remove the copyright and drag it to the right. So you have really a lot of options with both the header and the footer because it's so flexible and you can build it out to the way that you would like it. Full control over typography and customization of colors. That is not something that you used to get in themes that were free. So these features within Suki make it a pro feature already in a free theme. The last few things that we can look at that you have control over, of course, is your blog, and you have your various for your post pages. Here we currently have it as a default, but if you prefer to have it as a grid, which I'm quite a big fan of, you have options over here. And if you have a lot of posts within this, you also have pagination here, which is also a pro feature. That's very nice to see it in here. Single posts, let's go over here to our single post. Click on that one to see our single post. Show author bio over here, author bio. Let's say no author bio. It's gone. Show previous next post navigation. Next one is baked bold bread, and it's gone. And usually it's good to leave at least the previous and next post navigation on, and then also show author bio. People often look at that to see who's this person who wrote this. Then post layout by default. These are the default settings again that we have over here with your post header that you can set up and your post footer and your layout grid over here. So this will all determine how your posts will display. The last two is for the more advanced, the dynamic page settings. An additional CSS for those who dare. You can add that all there. Great, great. Absolutely amazing. It's stunning features in Suki WordPress theme in its free version. Highly recommendable. You should go and check it out. I'm one of those people, I hardly ever just use one theme, which of course has its drawbacks because every theme is a little bit different and you have to go in every time and dig in there and find out what's going on. But we've worked through the entire process with the Suki theme. We look from the beginning to the end. How to install it? Well, that's as simple as ABC. And then once you've installed it, under Appearance, you will see Suki appear here, which gives you access to the dashboard. And the dashboard is the hub that you want to go to. From here, you have your documentation. You can join the Facebook group, and you can also rate them. Go to the website if you need to talk to them. And then if you're interested in the demo sites, you install it over here. Once you've installed it, you have the Suki sites import that give you sites for various page builders, various categories, as well as no page builders. And installing it is as simple as clicking on it with a one-click install. And that will do everything for you. It will change your posts, your pages, your media, your reading settings, your permalinks, your menus, the works. It will set it up. And all you need to do now is you go into the customizer and you make changes to your default settings like the background, the canvas wrapper, your header, your page header, as well as your featured images. From here, you will then definitely go into the posts. You can use these demo posts as an example. Of course, you're going to create your own posts and pages, change the content again, and as easy as that, you are set. And you know what? You didn't spend the cent. Suki Free is for me. This may seem like we're at the end, but Suki has integration with the Brizy WordPress page builder. And that does not display in the customizer. It will only display once you install Brizy. Let's go to Plugins, add New, and we search for Brizy. Install now. Installing. Installed and activate. Now we have installed the Brizy Page Builder. Let's go back to Appearance, Customize, and you will observe here at the bottom there is a new label that appears within the sidebar options, Brizy Integration. When you click on this, there are two options here that you can enable when working with the Brizy Page Builder. The first one is Use Themes Content Width as Brizy Content Width. Brizy has a fixed width of 1170 pixels for its content wrapper. If you want it to go bigger, like wide, it's not going to do so. But by enabling this setting, Brizy will follow Suki's setting, so you can override Brizy's setting. Brizy has what they call a reset CSS to content, and that means that often when you work with third-party plugins that you bring in within shortcode, it will display the default sans serif font, which I'm not a big fan of. If you want to make sure that it takes the font settings from Suki theme, you click here and it will reset the CSS of Brizy, disable that rather, and then it will use the theme's font directly within the Brizy Page Builder. This is a very, very neat integration done within the Brizy Page Builder with Suki. I hope this was useful, gave you some idea of how Suki works, maybe gave you a few ideas what you can do with Suki, and that you will also check out the Pro videos for Suki Pro. This is JP with Websites for Beginners.